guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hetvi, and in this video I want to focus on how our memory functions in order to reduce the amount of time that we're spending revising yet maximize the amount of information we're able to retain. So if that's of some interest to you, then be sure to watch this video right till the end in order to reap the most benefit out of this video. So first and foremost, I would like to address that our memory can be referred to as a continual process that ensures that we're able to retain information for a prolonged period of time. And it can be understood as being the framework that enables us to make sense out of things and thus appropriately take action with regards to it. Now, with respect to the current ongoing cognitive research, memory has been primarily defined as functioning as a dual process, that is, defined as unconscious routine thought process referred to as system 1 interacting with our conscious problem-based thought process referred to as system 2. And it is with utilizing both of these that enables us to retain information for a prolonged period of time, and you'll understand just why in a short period of time. Now, whenever we learn something new, there are fundamental principles that need to be obeyed. First and foremost being the encoding or the learning that comes with any new skill set or any new concept we're wanting to gain more information in, allowing us to then store that information and retrieve it when and where it's required. And in knowing these elements of memory, we can reduce the amount of time that we're spending revising, yet maximize the amount of information we're able to retain. Now, just for a moment, think of a time when you learned a new skill, whether that is to read, learn how to drive, or to ride a bike. Performing these skills, and when you first learned these skills, it required an active process whereby you had to analyze and consciously think of what it is that you were doing. Part of which also led to the question of why you were doing it, right? In order to gain a better understanding of the importance of each step that you were carrying out or you were going to carry out. But over time, with practice, performing the skill wasn't as cognitively demanding, but instead became intuitive. And it goes without saying that the more proficient you became at the skill, the more apt you were in being able to carry out multiple tasks, such as making analytical decisions or resolving any problems. So it's important to understand how System 1 and System 2 can be characterized in this. Now, System 1 can be understood as being characterized as unconsciously recalling previously memorized information, which many students would refer to as being passive revision that they carry out, which is note-taking, highlighting, memorizing, and then regurgitating that information. Whilst System 2 is the application of the knowledge that you've learned in domains that is beyond what had been originally seen in or had been involved in. Otherwise referred to as active revision, that's often performed by, making up practice questions and quizzing one's own self or, those around them. Now, having understood what both of these systems are characterized as, many of us would feel as System 2 being more important the higher up you go in your educational learning or your educational journey. That is not always necessarily true, because both System 1 and System 2 are fundamentally important for our learning, right? System 1 ensures that we are able to gain the fundamental principles of any new concept or any new skill, while System 2 is what allows for its application, and both of them go hand in hand. One cannot be without the other. So they're both just as important, and it's imperative to understand this and not to consider one being, better than the other. Now, going slightly back to the building blocks of System 1 and System 2, I just want to highlight among, encoding, storage, and retrieval. Retrieval of information is subjected to error that is often due to the reconstruction of our memory, and that is a way of our mind to compensate for any loss of information or degradation of any information over an extended period of time. So in 1885, Hermann Ebbinghaus performed an experiment looking at individuals' cognitive ability in retaining long lists of syllables over an extended period of time, and that is what led to the construction of the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. And it is from his research that we were able to understand that the retention of information within our mind is not only dependent on the amount of time that has elapsed, but also how strongly those neural connections within our mind had formed with regards to that subject matter. So, how well did you understand the content? The better understood it was, the less likely you were in forgetting, and of course, vice versa. Now, here's where most students end up making the mistake, where they focus too much time and energy on passive revision than in activities that can really enhance their retention of information. And often, students feel that, revising closer to the exam ensures that they're able to retain as much information as they can in a short span of time, which may be true, and they may be able to sit their exam and apply the knowledge that they've gained. It doesn't form the neural connections that are required for that long-term retention. In order to formulate neural connections strong enough for that long-term retention, it is dependent on how frequently you're recalling the information in order to prevent the degradation or that forgetting curve to reach the bottom, where you have lost majority of the information that is necessary for you to know. And that is why I love the technique of using flashcards, whether that is digital or handwritten. They are an absolute game changer to how one revises and how one, engages in their revision. It can be fun, and it can definitely be something that you can apply to your current routine. My all-time favorite is utilizing the Anki, not only due to its fantastic features, and by no means is this video sponsored by them, but I absolutely love using Anki, and it's definitely an app that I would highly recommend, if you are wanting to see the improvement in your grades, because you will find that by actively recalling and practicing recalling information over a period of time, you're more able to then form those neural connections, those interlinks between concepts even, that can allow you to gain better marks and get better results. Now, it does come at a cost, and that is what is often off-putting for many students, but know that there are multiple different apps that you can use, like the Anki flashcard app that you can use. It's just as effective. It's very similar in its features. Of course, there are a few divergences between the two apps, but it's just as effective, and it's free of cost. So there are various other apps you can look into for flashcards that you might want to use digitally, or you might want handwritten flashcards. That's completely up to you. It's your personal choice. The only reason why I would suggest digital flashcards to be kind of more convenient is because you're not having to carry many flashcards. And with the Anki, I just want to mention that it allows for that spaced repetition to be generated on its own. So depending on how confident you are with the topic, with that subject matter, or with that flashcard, you can choose as to how frequently or less frequently you want to see that flashcard, and it would appropriately then appear when you are kind of reaching kind of that mid of that retention curve, to just uplift it again, and to make sure that you're actually on top of your revision and you're able to retain as much of the information as you can. But just know that if you do want a full length video on how to use Anki, just comment down below and I'll create a separate video that is dedicated to showing you all the features of Anki and kind of just maneuvering around and just getting you to be very confident in using Anki. It's fairly simple, I guess, once you kind of fiddle around on your own. So guys, that is it for this video. I really hope that you found this video useful. If you have, guys, be sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon right next to it to make sure that you're regularly updated. If you have any questions or queries, guys, be sure to comment down below and I'll try my best to address any of your questions or queries. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye.